Learning a new language is an adventure. It is such an exciting and mind-opening experience. But the way that they're taught traditionally in most schools can be inefficient, frustrating, and even intimidating.
I want people not wasting their time. I think a lot of people spend a long time spinning their wheels with language learning, and language learning is so important, especially when we're talking about learning English in today's economy. And the idea of people spending, hours or years trying to memorize translations, or trying to not use spaced repetition, or trying to not use pronunciation early on, that hurts me. And so I guess my main ask is don't do that. Learn about what will save you time. The hours you spend in the beginning, or even now, even if you're halfway through, if you spend 2, 3, 4 hours trying to learn how to do this more efficiently, it will save you hundreds of hours in the long term. And so take the time to figure things out, figure out how your brain works, what actually makes you feel like you're learning at a rapid rate. If it doesn't feel like you're learning, you're probably not. And then go run after that.
Today, Gabriel from Fluent Forever will share what you really need to know about fluency, language learning, and the importance of setting the right goals. Gabe, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm so happy to have Gabriel on the show because here at RealLife English, we bring the world's most influential online teachers and experts so that you can rediscover the adventure of English learning. Just like Lucy, who says that our lessons have shown her that learning a language can be fun and meaningful. So subscribe now so that every week you can join our lessons that will help you to understand fast-spoken English, be understood by anyone, and connect to the world. All right, so to start off, let me ask you a question. What does fluency mean to you? Pause the video for a second and write down in the comments below. I'll be fluent when I... Now this is such a tricky question because the definition of fluency is so broad. Each person may have a different idea of what that means. So let's take a look at what Gabriel, who's learned 8 languages and built a successful business out of it, says about that.
We tend to use these labels that don't mean a lot. The word fluency, it's part of my company name, it's part of my book name, and yet I hate that word. It doesn't mean anything. It means I feel good. And you can have a person who feels good in a coffee shop who is, by the European scale, B1 on the CEFR scale, and feels good and feels fluent. And there's nothing, you can't tell that person, well, I'm sorry, you're feeling too good about this. You should feel worse about what you know. That person is fluent in coffee shop Spanish. And that's legitimate. Whereas you can have other people who will never feel comfortable. They will keep learning words, and they will eventually hit a level that is beyond the average native speaker, and they will still say, I'm not fluent, because this is, I feel what is that? Is that the Dunning-Kruger curve? The idea that the more you know, the less confident you get?
Right, yeah.
I mean, that is a real thing, and certainly the longer I spend in Japanese, the more I feel oh my God, this is endless. This is just, there's so much to learn. And so will I ever feel fluent in Japanese? Probably will not feel fully comfortable in that thing. But at a point that I can do live translation for someone, which is a brutal thing to do. If I can do that, if I can really watch anime series comfortably and feel good about them, if I can read manga, at that point I will say, okay, Gabe, chill, you're probably fluent.
Time for the next language.
Yeah, I mean, I think the European scale is a nice one. I think the CEFR scale that goes, A0, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, is a valuable scale, and I think C1 is a reasonable place to put the line. Where if you have a C1 certification, I think you can pretty reasonably say to anyone, hey, I'm fluent in this thing, and not be unreasonable. But that said, I showed up to Austria with a C1 certification in German, and I went to a farmer's market, and I died. It was just brutal. They were speaking to me in dialect, and someone gave me a 2-minute speech on how to take care of a basil plant, and the only word I picked up was water. And this is with the C1 certification. So is that fluency? Well, I could handle a whole graduate degree in German. So I think reasonably so, but did it feel like fluency? Like, hell no, it was awful.
Popping you down in Scotland, maybe in the Highlands or something, and trying to have a similar conversation about processing whiskey or something like that, maybe you could be equally lost.
100%. And so I think fluency is so context dependent and so goal dependent that totally. I think it ends up being a really wobbly word. The direction that I've been trying to head is actually away from fluency in terms of like how we frame the company and frame goals for people who are using our app, and is more leading towards personalized fluency, which is to say, what do you wish to be fluent in? Do you wish to be fluent in going to the coffee shop? We can do that for you. Do you wish to be fluent in, like, I don't want to learn Cantonese. I want to be fluent in dim sum. That's what I actually want from Cantonese. I have no interest in that language, except that I do want to be able to walk into a dim sum restaurant and have an actual conversation with the waiter about like what's good food here. Mm-hmm. And that's like very achievable. Cantonese is going to be a brutally difficult language for me to learn. That's another Japanese basically in terms of difficulty. But just dim sum, like, that should be a 3-month project. Mm-hmm. And so, and that counts. Like that should count as fluency for me if I can have a comfortable conversation. And so I feel like comfortable conversation is something I want to learn about. That seems like a more meaningful label for me than am I fluent? Because it's so much more specific.
It's yeah, you were talking about goals, and that's much better that you're reflecting a lot about what do I need the language for, and aligning your goals like that, because so many, I mean, most of our audience, they're English learners. So like so many English learners, they just say, I want to be fluent in English, but they never actually reflect like, what does that mean? And I think for most people, that probably means like speaking it in some sense, like they speak their native language, speaking it effortlessly, but you don't need to know it. You don't maybe need to know about how to talk about gardening in English. If you're not actually interested in gardening, you need to like be focused on, what are the things you really want to know. So many great insights from Gabriel's answer. I know it can be challenging to digest everything, so feel free to go back and listen to it again. However, I've also prepared a few quiz questions to help you with the comprehension of the ideas he shared. Do you remember what Gabe said about some people's perception of becoming an advanced learner? The more they learn, the less confident they feel. The more they learn, the better they can speak in any situation. The more they learn, the readier they are to take a test. That's right, it's what's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. As we can see, when we first start learning, often we're overconfident in our abilities. But the more we learn, the more we realize there is to know in order to achieve mastery. This is why people who we see as experts are often still quite humble. It is because they realize they can always learn more. If you are enjoying Gabe's insights on language learning, he also explained why you shouldn't learn 2 languages at the same time, where his motivation to learn another language comes from, and so much more. You can listen to the full interview for free and follow along with an interactive transcript by downloading the RealLife app. But wait, that's not all of it. With the RealLife English app, you can also speak in English anytime, anywhere with someone in another part of the world. It's like traveling without leaving your home. And Gabe himself gives a good reason on why you should do this.
There's enough fascination with how people think that maybe that's something that I want. And so like I'm starting to also realize, even with these Japanese lessons, like interacting with my tutor is something I enjoy. I like that person. Mm-hmm. Not just the things that I can get out of them in terms of language content. And if that's interesting with that person, well, what about other people? So I think my motivations are changing over time. I think it absolutely is the case that the perspectives coming out of Japan are wildly different from the perspectives I see coming out of, random people I meet in Chicago. Mm-hmm. I think watching my own perspectives land on my tutor in this particular case and seeing points where his worldview gets expanded, mm-hmm. that feels good. And then also similarly watching like my worldview get expanded, that also feels good.
The perception of fluency can change depending on the context. True, false. So as we've seen, this is true, and it's called situational fluency. Check it out.
There's certain situation fluent. So like I said with Japanese, I could talk to you all day about video games and instruments in Japanese, but if you were to suddenly want to talk to me about politics or something that's outside of what I've worked on, I couldn't be able to do that. So in one situation, I might seem totally fluent, and in another, I probably won't. And that's okay with me because I'm doing what I need to do in that language, and that's enough for me. Like, I don't need to know the entire Japanese language. Like, even Japanese speakers don't know the entire Japanese language. So I don't worry about that too much. For me, what fluent is situational fluency, I suppose. So if I'm able to do what I need to do in the language or get through situations that I don't understand in the language, like I'm able to say, oh, I don't understand this, I'm not able to talk about it, or I'm not interested in talking about that, or I don't know how to talk about this, so let's work on it. Like if I can navigate that in the language, then that's enough for me. Especially with your first foreign language, when you ask someone, okay, why do you want to learn this language? It's like, oh, well, I just need to learn English, or I want to learn English, or it will help me with my work if I speak English. There's not something really clear about what they want to do in English. And so it's great to have like that ultimate goal. It's like, yeah, I want to speak English fluently. I want to be really comfortable in this language. But what exactly does that mean for right now? So for me with my languages, it's like, yes, I'd love to be able to just speak all of them, you know, at a native like level and have a great accent and make very few mistakes and be super confident just like that, switching into another language. But to get there, I need to have like these little milestones that I hit along the way. I typically have pretty specific goals of what I want to be able to do in each language. And so I have a pretty good idea as well of what I need to work on to reach those goals and to be able to do those things that I need to do. So I tend to guide my teachers to help me accomplish those things. But that does come from years of experience studying languages. I don't think I could have done that when I started.